Hello, everyone. Rurikhan here, coming at you with another episode of Kast. It has been a long time coming. I'm well aware of it. As a matter of fact, there have been some people even telling me about that in the social networks and stuff. And it's been a long time since I've had any time even to dedicate to making a Cast because I've just been ridiculously busy. And I know that I say this all the time. It's just a case that it happens to be the truth. And there's nothing really I can do about it. Between a whole bunch of stuff that has been going down in relation to the YouTube channel itself, between me having to wrestle my ISPs and even wrestle a couple of my health issues and all that stuff, it's just been very, very hard for me to actually have the time to sit down and just do whatever I want, because that is the only time that I actually have to record casts. It's time that I basically have to. It's basically only in free time is when I can record casts is what I mean, because usually apart from that, I'm just focused on delivering you guys your regular content. So yeah. Either way, I'm gonna go straight into the shout out section this month, this whenever. This episode is going to have a very short shout out section. Shout out to Simon. Oops, sorry, I kind of lost my notes there. Derp. Shout out to Simon Karlstrom. I'm sure I'm probably butchering his name in some way or another, because he donated to the cause, so thank you very much. And that's actually the only shout out I had, but I would like to give a shout out to all of the companies that are kind of working with me these days, the ones that choose to work with me, that is, in providing me with codes and stuff like that for titles so that I can keep on doing my first impressions videos, because that is definitely something very important for my channel. So thank you to all of you. That includes both Portuguese companies as well as companies in America, companies in the UK, all over the place, because that has been a great deal of time that I've been. That has been a great deal of how should I put this? I don't even know what I was going to say, to be honest. I just wanted to thank them, and that was it. Thank you very much. Next up, after the shout outs, I wanted to get into a community topic, but I didn't really see any community topic suggestions in the last cast. So once again, I'm just going to remind you guys, if you want me to talk about a specific subject on the cast, you have to make sure to submit that in the form of a comment below and just write community topic and then tell me what you would like me to talk about. And then I would appreciate it if, before you leave your community topic suggestions, if you could check the comment section to make sure that there is not already a community topic that you would like to see me tackle. And if that is the case, make sure to upvote it, because that is the way that I choose the community topics. Comments on cast that are upvoted, the most upvoted ones will usually make it to community topic of the episode. However, this time around, I only really had one suggestion and there were no upvotes. And to be completely honest, it's actually something that I don't want to express my opinion. I don't even have that much of an opinion on it, but it was regarding infinite runners and infinite racers, and I was like, I don't even know what to really say about that stuff. Sorry. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about consoles versus PC. And why is it important to talk about this stuff now? Well, the next gen is coming, and there's a lot of heated debates in regards to consoles and PCs and all that stuff. And I would just like to kind of weigh in my opinion a little bit on that, because I've been seeing some pretty destructive and heated debates out there in regards to the whole console versus PC thing. As in, for instance, a lot of PC elitist people coming out and just saying, "Oh, consoles are crap, and consoles this, and everybody who plays a console is just like a pleb and whatever, and people that play on consoles are suckers and blah 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 blah." And then there's the other side of it, which there are also console players saying, "Oh my God, PC players shouldn't get GTA 5. They shouldn't get it all. All they do is pirate and bad things and blah, 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 blah." And this almost reminds me of the heated debate that I kind of partook a couple of years ago, which was PC versus Mac. It's very interesting to actually see how people become so devoted to technology that they actually start taking sides and like saying, "Oh, the place that I play in is much better than the place that you play in," and all that stuff. Because also there are also the console wars. So there's like console wars, then console versus PC, and next gen obviously is reheated all that because like, oh, and here comes the Xbox One, and here comes the PlayStation 4, and which side are you on? Are you on the PlayStation side? Okay, then we're brothers. Are you on the Xbox side? Oh, how dare you? Or the other way around. And I just thought I would throw my 2 cents in here. So for starters, I wanted to address one of the big topics, which is in regards to people on the PC side of things, basically claiming that PC is just flat out superior to consoles. And I wanted to address that because, yeah, that is most likely a fact. It's not really that hard to figure out that in terms of hardware, yeah, you can make a PC better than a console. It's not really that hard to figure out. And it's not even that hard currently with the current consoles. Now with the next console generation, I'm not exactly sure on the whole tech specs and all that stuff. And I don't even really care that much, if I'm to be honest. Like, I don't like stress over little details like, oh my God, the PlayStation 4 has 8 gigabytes of GDDR5, which I actually think it's pretty impressive. But even then, I don't obsess. That's pretty much the only piece of hardware info I know about the PlayStation 4. And then it's like, oh, and the Xbox One is only using DDR3, but they're overclocking and doing all these other cool things. So Xbox One is going to come out on top, or PlayStation 4, whatever. But as I was saying, PC people say that PCs are superior, and in fact they are. It's that simple. Like, you can make hardware-wise, you can make a computer that's superior to a console. Now the thing is, why does that even matter? Well, the point here in the middle of all this is with the new console generation that's coming, one of the arguments is, oh, you can make a PC almost as cheap as a console. You can make PCs for $600. You can make a gaming rig out of $600. This is kind of the topic that I really wanted to debate, because there's a lot of people out there saying you can make a gaming rig for $600. And I have to say, where are you buying this hardware? Is this like hardware that's falling off a truck somewhere or something? Like you're buying this second hand? Like, because I don't think you're going to be able to make a $600 PC that's going to basically compare to to one of the next generation consoles. I don't think that's going to be the case. Like, sure, maybe if you have some really good connections on the hardware side of things, but I honestly don't think that is going to be the case. I feel that a lot of the times the people that do these PC commentaries are people that invested like well over $1,000 on a computer, and good on you. Like, my computer is probably, well, right now my computer is probably not even worth like $500 because it's getting older and older. But when I got it, it was like, I don't know, 700 euros, and then I actually stuck a new graphics card on it. So I've invested more than like 1,000 euros onto this machine. Easy. And I don't regret it or anything like that. I mean, it's a necessary machine. I actually use it for work, so obviously it has actually paid itself by now. But at the end of the day, I don't think that people understand when they're having this discussion that to some people buying a console is a matter of an investment in terms of actually having something that is not going to be very expensive and that is going to last them a long time. Because you can say what you want, but like I said, my computer is 3 years old. I think at this point it's probably 3 years old. Maybe not 3, maybe 2 years old in a couple of months. And it's like, this PC is completely outdated. It is just like completely outdated. Like I said, if you were to buy this PC now, you could probably make it for like 500 euros. It can't max out games right now. And you have to keep in mind that I'm also recording footage out of it. And what I'm trying to get at is like, look, it lasted for 2 years and now it's obsolete. And here's the thing, I'm going to continue using it. I have no plans for buying a new PC or anything like that. I mean, to be honest, I have other things that I need to spend my money on right now. But the point that I'm trying to make is, look at how much a PlayStation 3 lasted for some people. And it wasn't 1,000 euros. It was a lot less. Look at how long it lasted. What was it, 7 years or something? I'm not inside how long it lasted. And I'm just saying the PlayStation 3 because it's the one I own, but whatever. Just look at how much it lasted. Now look at how much a PlayStation 4 is going to last them and how much they are not going to have to constantly invest and upgrade for hardware that loses value on a daily basis. Like, you buy something today, within a month, when you're talking about the PC market, within a month, it's going to be almost worthless. Yes, that's a fact. Like, if I've seen stuff like this, like you buy certain parts and within a month they're like half priced. I mean, sure, it's not worthless, but it's going to be worth a lot less than when you bought it. And I think that this is a problem when you start talking about gaming on the PC, is that people say, oh, no, it's totally affordable. $600, you make yourself a gaming rig. Sure thing. You just forget to account into that math of yours that, yeah, sure, $600, you make yourself a starter gaming rig. Then 5 months, you upgrade a little bit. Sure, you need to maintain that gear. Come on, let's be honest. Boom, upgrade. And then on top of that, you have to deal with a lot of stuff. Like you have to deal with setting up your graphics settings for all of your games. You have to deal with all this other stuff that comes with it. And I know that I'm talking in a way like almost like, oh, so you don't like PC gaming? No, I love PC gaming. I love gaming in general. I love PC gaming. I love console gaming. I love it all. I just love gaming in general. Now, on a more personal level, I tend to prefer gaming on the consoles a little bit. And why is that? Because I don't have to fiddle around with the graphic settings. And it's not like I don't know how to fiddle around with graphic settings. I do. Like I've mentioned in the past, I have a degree in computer science, whatever. The fact of the matter is I've spent, I don't know, however many years I spent in my professional life before actually starting this YouTube thing. I spent those in IT, and I spent those repairing computers, fixing computers, advising people on which computers they should buy to perform certain tasks, doing maintenance on computers. Like, I've worked on computers quite a bit. So I understand that to some people, maybe this is some kind of fascinating thing, assembling your own computer with your motherboard and your CPUs and all that stuff. And I get it. For some people, that is amazing. And it's like, and some people even like to show it off with those acrylic casings that show all those pretty neon lights inside of your computer. Like, I'm not sure if I think I've shown you guys my computer box. It's a black box. It's a black square. That's what a computer is supposed to be. It's not really supposed to be this friggin' work of art with neon lighting and whatever. That's just silly. That's just complete waste of energy. I don't even want to look at the insides of my computer. I don't, because it's a computer. It's a box. You know what I want to look at? The monitor. That's what you need to look at. That's your output device. So I feel that there's a lot of focus on this whole make your own machine, and I get it. Sure, whatever you guys like. It's just, to me, it really holds absolutely no magic like building your own. I've even made a video when I built this computer, and I even had comments on people saying, "Oh my God, how can you not be wearing anti-static and all these other things?" And I'm like, really? What do you think you're working here with, NASA? Come on, get real, guys. Come on. If you take a couple of precautions, you don't really need all that gear and stuff. And like, it's not like people who fix up computers are somewhere in a tightly sealed room in a laboratory. No, people open up computers, they pull out their guts right, and they don't do it right in front of you because they want you to have this image. Oh, they're taking my computer to this laboratory where they're going to fix this. Whatever. Either way, I think I'm getting a little bit off topic. I tend to do that. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that there's room for both. And the fact of the matter that the public themselves and the general consumers themselves are actually at war with each other brings us absolutely nothing of good. People need to just understand that for some people, a certain platform is a better choice, and that's that. Be it PC, consoles, whatever. Because let's face it, there's also a big advantages on the PC side. We're talking about getting some really cheap games when you compare it with the type of sales that you currently have on consoles, which aren't really that good. At least where I live in Portugal and in Europe. I mean, sometimes I see like, oh, this thing goes on sale on the PlayStation Store, and it's like minus 20%, and I'm like, I look at Steam and it's like minus 75%, and you buy games for like $2, and you're like wondering. So again, it's like, there's balance and there's choice on both ends. I just feel that people shouldn't focus so much on fighting each other over who has the best platform or who should get GTA 5 or not. because, like I even said, I don't like exclusives. And I think that the market is actually going to reach a point where exclusives are going to slowly vanish away. But that's just one of my theories. I mean, we've had um, someone from Sony even saying that. I believe I didn't follow that story that closely, but I believe that we've had someone from Sony even saying that they expect PlayStation games to be available on other systems, probably through the Gaikai service or whatever, or in some other way. But either way, I mean, eventually, I think we're going to be platform independent, and that is the way that I actually like it. Because, like I said, I mean, you should base your decision on the platform that you're going to be purchasing based on the services that it offers, and not necessarily the games that it's got, which is a big deal of debate. Now we're going like into exclusive territory and whatnot, and don't want to get into that either. So let's actually move on. I think you guys kind of get my idea here. I'm more of a guy that's like, look, just play what you want, where you want, and stop making such a big fuss about it, because it really isn't such a big deal. If you want to play on a PC, sure. Can you afford to maintain a PC? Sure. Go for it. Why wouldn't you? Sure. Is the graphic fidelity going to be better on computers? Most likely, yes. Assuming that you spend enough money, yeah, sure. It is. It is a fact. And console guys shouldn't take this that bad, because then console guys also tend to get defensive and say, oh no, it looks so much better on my console. Let's face it, guys, it won't. I mean, it's going to look fine on the console. It's going to look a little bit sharper on the PC. But at the end of the day, who gives a crap? I mean, really, are you going to be playing a game that's like, for instance, one of the game with the flashiest graphics at the moment is Battlefield, for instance. If you look at Battlefield, it's like, ooh, super HD, realistic, all this other nonsense and bullshit, all this amazing detail. Tell me, are you going to be staring at a wall to look at how good the textures are when you're playing Battlefield? Or are you going to be staring down the scope of your rifle and shooting someone in the face? Let's be honest here. The only thing that really is going to make any difference is going to be frame rates, I feel, not necessarily resolution. And sure, you can get like over 200 FPS on a computer. Yeah, you can. Congratulations. Who cares? I'm getting off topic. I've just been really tired these past few days, so I might not be 100% coherent. Either way, I'm going to get on to the next topic that I wanted to address, and that was the topic of Core. Core with a K. If you guys remember, I created that Core Steam group where I wanted to try and interact more with people, to try and get them to play games with me, stuff like Firefall and all that stuff. And eventually, when I went to Gamescom, I never really had the time to dedicate to that when I got back, because my internet connection actually did not allow me to play Firefall at the time. And basically that whole thing has kind of died off. And I've made a realization, which is I need to be honest about this kind of stuff. And the fact of the matter is, I don't have the time to manage a community for as much as I would like, because I really would love to manage a community. You know, have something like, you could compare to, let's say, when Angry Joe goes to play an MMO or something, he's got like the Angry Army. I don't even know how he manages to manage a community like that, but I can't find the time. I can't. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but yeah. I'm not. I haven't been having time for that, and that probably has died off quite a bit. And lately, I've actually had a different internet connection, which I will be addressing further, a little bit further on. But I went back to Firefall, and still, it had nothing that would say who was online, who wasn't online, how long has it been since someone last logged in. So I don't know who's active in the core army in Firefall. And I don't know if I can even get people to play Firefall. So I've kind of like put that whole thing on hold, like for anything really. Now, something else. As I've been editing a lot of videos, sometimes when I'm just doing like simple editing, I like to watch stuff in the background, like series and stuff. And I actually watched Game of Thrones, finally. And I thought I would talk a little bit about that, because I had refused to watch Game of Thrones for quite some time. The reason is that I like to watch series when they're done, so that I can watch the whole thing in one big block. But I'm not sure which season Game of Thrones is at currently, but I believe it is at the third season, right? I mean, the fourth should be starting sometime. Not exactly sure when, but I pretty much watched all the way through season three, and I have to say it's a really good show. Obviously, Tyrion Lancaster, Lanny. I forget their name. Whatever. You guys know who I'm talking about. He's obviously the best Game of Thrones character of all times. It's just that easy. Lannister. That's it. Not Lancaster. Lannister. Tyrion Lannister, hands down, best Game of Thrones character. He is awesome. And I would advise you guys, anyone who hasn't really watched Game of Thrones yet, you guys need to go ahead and do that. Next topic that I wanted to address is the Dark Souls 2 beta, because I know that a lot of you guys are probably hungry for a lot of Dark Souls 2 news, but at the end of the day, the problem is, according to the EULA, which people accept when they go and participate on the beta, you're not allowed to talk about it, and you're not allowed to show footage of it. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of people who flat out break the EULA, who don't give a damn, so they just flat out post videos and all that stuff, or flat out go ahead and talk about it. That is not my case. What I have done is I actually created a video where I talk a little bit about the beta, and I sent it to a PR contact that I got from Namco, and I'm waiting to see if they would allow me to upload that, but they haven't really gotten back to me, so I don't know if they're going to allow that or not, but most likely I feel that they're not going to allow it, so I most likely might not be uploading anything at all in regards to the Dark Souls 2 beta. The one thing that I can tell you is that for all the stuff that we were insecure and whatnot with when Tomohiro Shibuya came out the very first time and started throwing words out like accessibility and all that other bullshit, all I can really say is that Dark Souls 2 is a true Souls game. From what I've seen up until this point, is a true Souls game. So that's all I'm really going to say about that. So if you have any fears or anything that they're going to change up the formula extremely or anything like that, there was no indication of that in the Dark Souls 2 beta. Quite the opposite. It actually looks like it's going to be, I wouldn't want to say very similar to Dark Souls, but like in the same vein of Dark Souls. It is very much in the same vein of Dark Souls. Of course, they do have a completely new engine, and so it's not like, for instance, when you went from Demon Souls to Dark Souls, you kind of get this feeling that the engine is kind of in this. It's almost like it's the same engine. It's I'm not sure if it's just a heavily modified version of the Demon Souls engine or not, but you get this feeling that it's very similar. When you get to Dark Souls 2, you will definitely kind of notice that while the gameplay is going to be very much in the veins of Dark Souls, you will notice that it is definitely a different engine. And that's all I'm going to say. I've probably said too much already. Hopefully Namco won't come after me and beat me with an ugly stick. Either way, so once again, I have to apologize. I know that a lot of you guys wanted to know more about the Dark Souls 2 beta. Like I said, I had a video about it. Oh yeah, I could just tell you that there were 2 bosses in the beta. I killed both those bosses, but I do not want to give you details on those bosses. As a matter of fact, not even in the video that I made, I didn't talk about the bosses, because I feel that when you start talking about bosses and whatnot, I mean, people already know about the Mirror Knight. If I go ahead and start divulging information about the 2 bosses that were in Dark Souls 2, I mean, at some point it's like, so we already know about 3 bosses in Dark Souls 2, and it's like, I don't know. I just feel that people shouldn't focus so much on that stuff, because the game is only going to come out on March 2014, and it's still a long ways out. And getting all excited about it in October, I don't think it's really needed. And then again, that's just me. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned. Maybe I'm just weird. Whatever. Then the other thing is, since we're on the topic of Dark Souls, might as well address the Dark Souls Pyromancer playthrough is obviously over. Pyro Lord, even. That playthrough is over. You guys have seen the entirety of the playthrough. I've had a lot of criticism of people saying, "Oh, you need to use the humanities," and I found it really, really interesting because these are the same people that will say, "Oh man, you need to play through the whole game with a broken sword." And then it's like, if I play with a Chaos Blade, but I don't fill it up with 10 humanities, they will go mental. They're like, "Oh my fucking God, how can you not put 10 humanities on your Chaos Blade?" But they would see me play through the whole game with a broken sword. So you know what I mean here? Like, the reason why I didn't use humanities is because whenever I make a Dark Souls character, I never really think about it in terms of the Dark Souls character ending when the playthrough finishes. Like, a lot of times I never play those characters again. A lot of times they end up deleted. Like, for instance, the character from Smo and Ornstein, that's been deleted like a long time ago, a really long time ago. And more. I've had other characters from playthroughs deleted. Several characters have been deleted. And the thing is, I never really see it as like final. I'm always thinking ahead. So it's like, I'm thinking to myself, if I can kill these things without using those 10 humanities, I'll save those humanities. And eventually I'll stack humanities up until the point where I have 99 humanities. If you guys remember, I've done a playthrough with Pallytime that I remember that I had 99 humanities, and then I still gave him like 50 humanities or something. And then after a while I had 99 humanities again. I'm a hoarder by nature for whatever reason, for good and for worse. I'm a hoarder and I hate to waste stuff. I really do. That's just what happened with that playthrough. Apart from that, there's also been a lot of really harsh criticism that I've been receiving on that playthrough, to the point where I kind of vented a little bit out into the social networks, because I'm human, guys. I don't really hold back all that much every now and then. So every now and then I'll vent onto Twitter and whatnot. And I vented and I was like, what the fuck is it with people like friggin' criticizing the way that I play and telling me that I play terribly? And it's like, I'm playing Dark Souls with the Self-Gravelord mod. So I'm facing off these black phantoms, which are in positions that I don't even know where they are. And on top of that, I don't feel comfortable enough to use the 10 humanities or whatever, because I don't want to waste them and lose them. And these people feel the need to go there and criticize me. And I'm just thinking, so your idea of a fun playthrough of Dark Souls is just steamrolling through everything. Because I can do that. I can steamroll through Dark Souls. It's not that hard. And the whole point of it is I'm constantly using new weapons and stuff that I'm unfamiliar with to make those playthroughs interesting. And a lot of people like criticize that. And I thought, like, well, there's a lot of other channels that do steamrolling, so you can go check those out. That's really, at the end of the day, that's really the only thing I can say about that. Also, I've had quite a few requests for a aggressive mod playthrough, because I guess now there's also an aggressive mod. I've done the self-gravelording mod. I guess I could do the aggressive mod, but the thing is, I don't feel like doing it right now, like right within the next weeks or even maybe months. So I might do that, but it's not going to be like right after. Trust me, because I don't feel like touching Dark Souls right now in terms of recording right after. I mean, I'm already recording another playthrough, but that one's actually a really fun. I mean, it's not really a playthrough. It's the live stream. You guys know what I'm talking about. The live stream with Unit Lost. And that's really actually fun, because I really enjoy, one of my favorite things to do in Dark Souls is actually bring in new players to Dark Souls. I love doing that because it's always fun. Let's put it like this. If you guys remember when Epic Namebro talks about Dark Souls, and one of the things that he says a lot of times is how he feels how he misses that feeling of exploration in Dark Souls, right? Because he already knows everything there is to know about the game. Myself too, as well as a lot of other Dark Souls players. They already know pretty much everything there's to know about the game. I mean, me personally, I don't know all that much about magic because I don't use it. Let's face it. But apart from that, I guess I'm pretty much covered. But the thing is, he's always saying how he misses that, because that is your best playthrough. The best playthrough that you will ever do of Dark Souls is your very first one, because you don't know what's going to happen. You never know. You don't know where the enemies are. You don't know where the stuff is. So there's always that feeling of tension. You're always like thinking, what's the game going to throw at me next? What's going to happen next? And that's what makes it so cool. And playing with Unit Lost is really interesting, because I'm almost like living vicariously through them, because I'm experiencing the game for the very first time. And it's so cool. I personally, I find that to be really cool. Like a lot of people say, "Oh my God, Rurikhan, you have the patience of a saint." No, it's just a lot of fun. That is my opinion, anyways. It's a lot of fun to actually see other people kind of fumble and do mistakes on Dark Souls and figure stuff out on their own, and the strategies that they come up with. It's hilarious. I love it. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm gonna keep doing that with them for as long as they'll have me. As a matter of fact, if everything goes according to plan, this video should go up on the 16th, which means on the 16th, which supposedly is going to be today when you're going to be watching this, there's also going to be a live stream with me and Unit Lost at 7 p.m. GMT. So make sure you tune in because we're going to be continuing the Unit Lost playthrough. Hopefully. That is the intention anyways. But yeah, that is what is planned for Dark Souls for the near future. Going to be continuing to help out with Unit Lost. Apart from that, aggression mod maybe sometime in the future. Definitely not right now because I'm just, look, everybody needs to take a break every now and then because otherwise I might just be fed up with Dark Souls by the time Dark Souls 2 comes out. Also going to be playing Dark Souls 2 in the beta on the 26th, I believe, the 26th of October. Going to be playing through that again. Probably just going to be doing a whole bunch of summoning because I really don't want to go and just kill the bosses again because I've already seen that. That is not something I'm interested in. I've done a lot of summoning too on this last iteration of it, but whatever. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm also in both the betas, by the way. I'm both in the US and the EU beta, so I get to play twice. Ha 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 ha. Scumbag Rurikhan. But yeah, that is going to be it in regards to Dark Souls. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about dealing with publishers and, just companies and even indie developers and all that stuff. The people that are basically providing me with game codes and even physical media, games for me to put on the channel. I would just like to let you guys know that one of the reasons why my time frame has actually been really reduced is because I've actually been taking a lot of time preparing emails and sending emails out to publishers. And it is something that is, it is a very polarizing experience, as in it is very rewarding sometimes to work with companies that will actually appreciate your work. But it is also incredibly frustrating when you're trying to talk to certain companies and they don't even get back to you. Because here's the thing, like one of the things that I always say, the difference between, someone who is doing YouTube just for fun and someone who takes it a lot more seriously is the amount of effort that they put into what they're doing. Now, I think there's no question at this point of how much effort I've actually been channeling onto my channel. And I feel that even despite all that and despite conducting myself as professionally as I possibly can, a lot of times I don't get replies. And that is the most frustrating experience that you can have. Like, look, someone gets back to me, tells me no, that's fine. I can deal with that, no problems. Someone doesn't get back to me, oh man, I go through the friggin' roof. Like, I'm serious. It is because, like I said, I spend a lot of time sometimes writing these emails, rereading them all over, making sure that I sound professional and don't just sound like, hey, can I have games? I make an effort not to sound like that. So, I mean, just, it's good when people actually reply. If people don't actually reply to you, I think that's actually a lack of respect because it doesn't matter who takes the time to send you an email. If it's a properly written email and it's not just bullshit spam or anything like that, you should get back to those people. That's my opinion anyways. And then I also wanted to talk to you guys about my experience since I've started kind of working with publishers and whatnot. I wanted to tell you guys how it is for someone who is actually in Portugal to be creating English videos and trying to address publishers. And let me just tell you, if you're in a similar situation, like if you're getting started, let me just say it like that. If you're getting started, like if you're starting up your own, reviews channel, whatever, tech channel, whatever you want to do. If you're starting that, seriously consider doing it in your native language. Seriously consider that, because to me, it would have been so much easier to get a lot of cooperation from companies in Portugal if I was actually making videos in Portuguese. It would have been so much easier. as it stands, it is actually a little bit harder. Now, I'm not necessarily complaining because I've actually had a few companies that have decided to work with me, and I'm really pleased about that. It's actually interesting that some of these companies can actually look past that and say, look, it's fine because in the bigger picture, you're exposing our brand to the world, regardless if it's just for Portuguese consumers or not. Because at the end of the day, publishers, they are focused on one thing, getting sale. I don't mean publishers, I mean like PR companies and whatnot, because usually those are the guys that you deal with, public relations. Those guys are focused on one thing, and that is getting as many hits on something to try and boost sales. That is their job, and you shouldn't really take that personal. That is their job. And obviously, PR companies in Portugal, they need to influence the sales in Portugal. So it's great when I see a company that actually looks beyond that and says, look, maybe you're not boosting as many sales in Portugal because you're doing your videos in English. But still, you're representing the brand. You're still exposing the brand to a wide audience. And at the end of the day, the brand wins by having that. That is a fact. And it's interesting when I meet these companies that actually do understand that, because there's also a lot of them that don't. And then there's a lot of them that don't even hit you back, which is the most frustrating experience ever. But at the end of the day, if you're doing something like me, and that means, like, let's say you live, even simply self, let's say you live in Spain. Let's say you live, I don't know, in Germany, and you decide to make English videos because there's a much wider audience of people that actually speak English, thus making it a little bit easier for you to reach a wider audience. If you're doing it like that, you will have to basically do more and better than everyone else if you want to get attention. That is the way these things are. You're going to have to basically go above and beyond to try and get attention from these publishers that are, localized and stuff like that. So that's just a little bit of tip for you guys, and just a lot of stuff that I've had to deal with. But again, like I said, don't take this as an overly negative tone, because like I said, it was also been a pleasure of me to work with a lot of the companies that I've been working. Hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys some more exclusives soon, which will show you just how much that is. Like, for instance, Beyond Two Souls, Diablo 3, Rain, Total War Rome 2. That was all provided by Portuguese companies, and they've been awesome. Pro Evolution Soccer 2014, again, same thing, provided by a Portuguese company. As a matter of fact, I was invited to go to the launch event, which was pretty cool as well. So, yeah. I mean, it's really cool when you actually get to work with these people. That's my opinion anyways. But that has always been something that I've enjoyed doing. If you guys remember, even back when I was with TGN, one of the things that I most enjoyed doing was working with people from the industry. Because, like, I've worked with, I believe, with people for, what was that game? All Odds, I think. I've worked with people for that. That was really cool. We've made me, Sidestrafe, and who was the other one? Was it William Hengist? Might have been. It was me, Sidestrafe, and Hengist. We made a video about All Odds. That was pretty cool. Then I did with me, Hengist, and Pandora. Made another video on All Odds. That was pretty cool. Even though it was a game that I wasn't terribly interested in. Again, it was a game that was requested by for us to make, to showcase some dungeon or something, and I like that stuff. I like it. I like interacting with the industry out there and, getting feedback from them, and it's great. This is not to say that I haven't been working with companies outside of Portugal, because I definitely have. One of them have been really cool with me, Nipponichi Software America. Those guys have been amazing. They were the ones who allowed me to, not really allowed me, but they were the ones who provided me with Dragon's Crown. And Dragon's Crown is most likely actually going to be taking a more central stage, at least for a playthrough, because I want to complete that playthrough of Dragon's Crown, because I love playing Dragon's Crown. The game is amazing. The art style is amazing, and it's just a bunch of fun to play that goddamn game. You just go in there, I just go in there with my dwarf, I grab enemies and I throw them at other people, and it's awesome. I mean, I don't know. I personally, I like it. I understand that there's some people who don't like that kind of game, but I still intend on doing the full playthrough. It's one of those things that it's a passion project, so I'm probably going to do it regardless of how many views it's going to get. As a matter of fact, I have a feeling that my views are going to be a little bit lower for a while because I am going to stop Dark Souls for a little bit. But hey, that's one of the things that needed to happen. I've been noticing that I've been bleeding a lot of subscribers, and that is because I haven't specialized in Dark Souls. And I know that a lot of people probably subscribe to me, and all they want is Dark Souls. And that's not going to happen. I mean, Souls is always going to be on the channel, like I've always said, but it's never going to be exclusively Dark Souls. Not me, personally. There's other channels for that. There's Vati Vidya. Even Epic Name Bro is no longer Dark Souls exclusive. So, I mean, we have passions. We like video games, and we like playing video games. And it's not about playing the same video game until the end of times. Like, I've been labeled a World of Warcraft tank. Now I've been labeled a Dark Souls guy. And it's like, I'm neither of those things. I like playing video games, and I like making videos about that. And that's me. Either way, another game that you guys are probably going to be seeing a lot of on the channel is Hearthstone. That was actually provided by a Portuguese company, Echo Play. They provided me with the key pretty much on the day that the thing came out, which was really cool. Really enjoyed that. And that is also I want that to become a staple of the channel. Now, I don't want people to expect me to become this amazing whiz at Hearthstone because it takes a lot of time to actually figure out strategies and making the best possible plays that you can with the cards available in your hand. That stuff just takes time to learn, and I haven't really learned it all that well, and I don't play Hearthstone often enough to learn it all that well. I mean, there's people live streaming 24/7 of Hearthstone. I don't do that. I play Hearthstone every now and then. I'm very casual, so don't expect top plays here. Just expect kind of like me learning my way through the game. That's the way the Hearthstone is going to be with me. And then the other thing that's definitely going to be coming up more on the channel is first impressions videos. As much as I can, I want to keep on producing more first impressions videos. I've gotten a lot of contacts now with a lot of people in the community, and I'm constantly reaching out to more companies and stuff like that to try and get more codes for first impressions videos. That is definitely something that I want as a staple of the channel. And I also want to tell you guys something, which is if you notice, a lot of my first impressions tend to be positive. And the reason for that is that I kind of like handpick most of the games that I put through the first impressions thing. And these are games that I am interested in, usually, most of the time, which is why it will usually be somewhat of a positive first impression. Now, I want you to understand that if I ever go through a game that I just do not enjoy at all, that is going to be a negative first impressions. I will sooner not really burn bridges, but I will sooner make a harsh criticism for a company that provided me with a key. I will sooner make a harsh criticism of their game than risk being labeled as biased. Now, some people have called me biased in the case, for instance, of Legends of Aetherius. And I don't think I was biased. I said everything I had to say on that first impressions video. I said that I believe they had made a mistake, that they shouldn't have released the game because the game was still very much in an alpha stage when it was released. So I've said everything I had to say. I said the problems that it had. I spoke of everything. And then I said something that I liked really very much, which was the combat. The combat in the game was really cool. And a lot of people have been criticizing me on that. But then again, I think that's because I was one of the only people that actually did first impressions on that title. And it's got like a ton of hits all over there because a lot of people have been looking for information on that title. And at the end of the day, I don't think that people understand that that is a budget title. It is a budget title. It is not a title that is being made by a team the size of Skyrim. And people like throwing comparisons around like that. Why should I play this instead of Skyrim? It's like, go ahead, play Skyrim. Nobody's stopping you. This is a different game. Either way, I just wanted to let you guys know in regards to that I will sooner criticize a game negatively than be biased towards it. Then there is another thing, though, which is the fact that I feel that a lot of games have their own crowds. Like, I feel that most of the time, unless a game is just poorly made, usually there is someone who will like that game. Unless it's just poorly made and it's a piece of crap, which sometimes will happen. But like, for instance, Let's look at a game like this Gaia D2. There's going to be a lot of people that are not going to enjoy this Gaia D2. That is a fact because it is a JRPG, it is a tactical JRPG, and it is a very complex game. Now, I happen to like it. I honestly just don't have as much time as I would like to play it, but I happen to actually like this Gaia D2. As a matter of fact, I had already liked this Gaia 3, Absence of Attention. When I played it the first time on my PlayStation Vita, the only reason I stopped playing this Gaia 3 was because I ran out of battery. Just to get you guys an idea, I really like that game. I like the combat. I think it's a very rewarding combat. One of the things that I don't like so much is the geo blocks mechanic or whatnot. I didn't really like that much on this Gaia 3. I think actually on this Gaia D2 it is actually much improved. But either way, that's what I'm getting at. You know, like for instance, for fans of JRPGs and stuff like that, this Gaia is going to be an amazing game. For people that don't like JRPGs, they're going to hate it and they're going to think it's a crappy game. And that is just the nature of this industry. Like pretty much there's an audience for almost every single game out there. It's just a matter of fact of whether or not you are that audience, which is why I also feel that stuff like review scores and stuff is just a bunch of bullshit, really. It is, because at the end of the day, unless you really know the person who is reviewing a title, the score is bullshit. It's just that. Here's the thing. For instance, look at Angry Joe, right? Angry Joe scores the games that he evaluates. He puts a score on them. And it's okay for Angry Joe to put a score on it. Why? Because Angry Joe is actually a very much a public individual. Like, you know what Angry Joe likes and doesn't like. But like, for instance, you go to a website like Game Trailers. And look, I'm not criticizing Game Trailers at all. But you go to a website like that, and there's a random score at the end of the game. Here's the thing. You don't know the person that actually reviewed that game. Do they say that? I'm not sure if they do. Either way, I don't know. But you don't usually know the person who reviewed the game. You don't know what their tastes are. You don't know if you are going to like that game or not. Like, for instance, look at Demon Souls. You know what, back in the day, you know what G4 TV gave the Demon Souls? 2 out of 5. And I can even quote what the end reviewer said. They said 2 needless deaths out of 5. You think that's a fair score for a game like Demon Souls? Because the reviewers didn't like it. They didn't get it. So they weren't the proper crowd for that game. It doesn't mean the game doesn't have a crowd. I mean, look at me. I friggin' love Demon Souls. You probably love Demon Souls. Most of my audience will enjoy Demon Souls. That is a fact of life. And that's what I mean. You see, review scores are very subjective. Like, some people might think a game is worth something. Other people might think a game is worth something completely different. I think Game Trailers gave Dark Souls like an 8 out of 10 or something like that. To me, Dark Souls is 10 out of 10. To me, Dark Souls is the best game ever made. Does it have flaws? Yeah. But it's part of the design. And to some people, they're not even flaws. Like, when I say flaws, I mean, like, for instance, I would very much like Dark Souls to have proper co-op. That's just me. A lot of people don't care for that. But again, it doesn't stop it from being the best game ever made, in my opinion. Either way, wow, I just went on a completely sideways rant here. Let's talk a little bit about internet connection. Excuse me. Because, like I've mentioned to you guys, I now have 2 internet connections. I have a 12 megabit down, 1 megabit up, stable ping connection. This is a landline. And then I have a 20 megabit down, 4 megabit up with bad ping, which is a very unstable connection. So why do I have these 2 connections? Because no provider could give me the same upload speed that I previously had. So the only thing I could do was get that thing, which was a 4G connection, which basically it's a wireless connection. It's not a landline, so it's unstable. But it uploads pretty decently at 4 megabits a second. So I use that strictly as my upload line. And then for online gaming and whatnot, I use the landline, which is, like I said, 12 megabits down, 1 megabit up, which is obviously not amazing in terms of speed, but it is pretty stable, so it allows me to play online. What does this mean with these 2 internet connections? I actually can't live stream. I can't live stream because the card is on my PC, which is using the stable landline connection, which only has 1 megabit upstream, and the connection that I would be able to stream in would actually be the unstable one. I would have to do some tweaking with the stream to like delay it by 30 seconds or whatever. Basically, right now, I just can't stream properly. There's no way to do it. I mean, I might try something in the future, but I'm not seeing it. It would require me to have a different capture card. Speaking of which, I actually got a different capture card. It was so bad that I returned it instantly. I might be talking about that in the near future. But yeah, it was terrible. I got another capture card. I tried using it to replace my Evermedia Live Gamer HD because I've been having issues with it. And the quality was just so different that I didn't even entertain the idea. I instantly shipped that back. So yeah, that's it in terms of capture cards. Something else that I would like to mention is that I've been missing playing MMOs. I really have. It's something that I really miss a lot, like from the days that I played World of Warcraft and stuff like that. I really miss that experience of just going through a dungeon with a group or doing something like that. And I haven't had any game that's really provided me with that kind of experience. I really miss that stuff, which is why I've said in a couple of videos ago that I was planning on getting back into World of Warcraft, but I still don't know if I'm going to or not. And I just don't know. I just miss playing a decent fantasy MMO. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say, oh, but there's Terra and there's this and that and the other, but it's like, I don't know. It's not the same because Terra is just so grindy with the stuff that you have to do to maintain, and I don't know. To be honest, it's almost like, to me at this point in time, a game like this Gaia D2 is actually simpler than what you have to do to stay up to date in an MMO between the sockets of your gear and your sigils in World of Warcraft. You also had some form of sigils in Terra and all that stuff. Just like things that are put into a game to artificially extend its time, as opposed to actually spending time playing the damn thing. You know, I miss the days where there were no sockets, there were no sigils, there was no bullshit. Just pick up gear and friggin' go. I guess I might be getting old. That's just the thing. It's just, to me, it's more about the experience of downing bosses in a group than necessarily the getting a ton of loot. Maybe I'm alone in this. I don't even know anymore. Because I remember back when I was in the Burning Crusade and I was raiding. You guys know what gear I personally took to raid the final instance, which was it? No, the final instance was Sunwell. I never got to do Sunwell, so it was the one before it, the one with Illidan. I even don't remember the name of the instance anymore, but that was basically a tier 6 instance, if I remember correctly. I was raiding that thing with tier 4. With tier 4 and a PvP shield. That's how much I cared about loot. It's like, what, my gear is still being able to keep me alive? What the fuck do I need better gear for then? Fuck that. That's the way that I saw it. But a lot of people are like, no, man, this thing gives me like plus 0.1 effective health. I'm going to be so much of a better tank with it. And I'm like, sure, whatever, take it. Like I give a fuck. That's not really going to save you when something is hitting you from the back and you don't know how blocking mechanics work, retard. Which, yes, that had happened. But yeah. I mean, that's the point. A lot of people tend to focus so much on these stats and it's like, no, it's not about stats. It's about gameplay. It's about figuring out how to play. It's actually being a good tank or whatever role you happen to be performing because you're good at what you're doing and not necessarily because you have the best gear. I always preferred skill over gear, but whatever. And lastly, I thought I would talk a little bit about my health issues because we've talked about my health issues in the past in Cast, so I might as well talk about them now. If you guys remember, I did a big diet. A lot of people have been congratulating me on my loss of weight and whatever. I haven't even told people how much weight I've lost, but people seem to notice that because of my face or something. I don't know. Either way, I want to talk about that. One of the main reasons why I started that was because of my liver. I had fatty liver disease. Well, I had something done, which is like a test where they look at your liver, whatever. I don't remember, echo something. And my liver is actually, it's still a little bit it's not normal, but it's pretty much inside normal parameters. And there's no scarring. There's no real problems with it anymore. It's just a little bit fatter than it should be, but not even that much. According to what the doctor told me, she's like, yeah, this is pretty much normal for most people. I mean, sure, it could be a little bit less fat, I guess, whatever. But she's like, but this is perfectly normal. No problems with this whatsoever. The blood work also, there was like a specific parameter in my blood work that was the reason how they figured out I had fatty liver disease. That parameter is just back to normal, no problems whatsoever. I also had my heart checked, not really heart checked, whatever. They do this effort, this strain testing, whatever, and a treadmill and whatnot, as well as a sonar as well. And they've told me that the heart seems normal, although those particular tests haven't really come back yet. But they told me that first glance, everything seemed normal, which I was really surprised because a couple of years ago, I had a cardiologist actually tell me that my heart was actually smaller than it should be for my age, which that was like a big wake-up call at the time, like a long, long time ago. And apparently, according to what they're saying now, is that everything seems to be within normal, so to speak. So it's been pretty cool. And so far, the doctors, what they're saying is most likely the cause of me not being able to sleep is anxiety. And I'm like, really? Anxiety? I can't believe that anxiety would be something that would be keeping me up, but it seems that is what everything is pointing towards, which is interesting because I was at the doctor and my wife and my mother were there. And the doctor was like, so are you a stressful individual? And I'm like, no, I'm not stressful at all. And my wife and my mother like both, yeah, he is. And I was like, I am? Okay, I guess I am. Either way, that is it for this particular episode of Kast. That's all I really had to talk about with you guys. Sorry that it has been taking me so long to actually get another one of these out. It's just, like I said, I've been really, really busy bringing you guys the first impressions and whatnot. And again, I'm not complaining. I love it. I love doing this. It's just, it takes up a lot of time, maintaining the relations, editing, recording, actually playing games. Because like, for instance, man, there's like so many games that I want to play right now, but it's not like I'm going to be making any more videos about them. For instance, I want to finish Beyond Two Souls, which I still haven't had a chance to do. I want to finish GTA 5, which I still haven't had a chance to do. And there's more. I can't even. Oh yeah, I also have something that they've given me to review recently, which is, I'm sure if you guys can see that, but that is Killzone Mercenary. I want to make like a first impressions on that as well. I just haven't really had time to play it, but I really want to get onto that because a lot of people have been saying it like, oh my God, it's such an amazing shooter for the Vita. And I just wish I had the Vita TV already and I would be so much more excited about making a first impressions on that, because the thing that keeps me from just going flat out, oh, I'll do first impressions of this freaking right now, is like, I know that I'll have to set up the Vita and put the camera behind us. Oh my God, it gives me headaches. Just thinking about it, it gives me headaches. But yeah, that is going to be it for this particular video. As per usual, leave me your comments, feedback, all that kinds of good stuff in the comment section below. Make sure to check to see if there is a community topic in the comment section that you would like to see me address. If not, make sure to leave your own suggestion of a community topic for me to address in the next Kast. And thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.